It was 3:07 a.m. A soft knock echoed through the apartment. Sarah sat up in bed, her heart pounding. She lived alone on the 7th floor. No pets, no visitors, no one ever came this late. The knock came again, slow, deliberate, from the hallway. She pulled on her robe and stepped outside. The hallway was silent, but the knock hadn't come from the front door. It came from the red door. That door had always been there. A strange, faded red. No knob, no keyhole, just a sealed frame. When she moved in, her grandmother warned her, never touch the red door, not ever. She never questioned it. Until now. The next night the knocking returned, but now it came with a whisper. "Let me out, it's so cold." She froze, her breath misted in the air. She backed away and tried to sleep, but dreams of a woman trapped behind the door haunted her. On the third night, Sarah placed her ear against the door. She heard breathing. Then something whispered, "We used to be the same." She screamed and ran back to bed, but the whispers continued. Now they were coming from inside her walls. The next morning, she found a drawing slipped under the red door. It was a child's crayon sketch of her standing beside a girl with no face. Who was that girl? Was she the one who knocked? Was she the one trapped inside? Sarah couldn't escape the feeling that the red door had become a part of her. The days passed, but each night brought new horrors. Sometimes Sarah would wake to find the room freezing cold. Other times, the air grew thick, almost suffocating. The knocks persisted, louder now, more desperate, as if whatever was behind the door was trying to break free. Then on the 5th night, her reflection in the mirror began acting strange. When she smiled, it didn't smile back. When she looked away, it kept staring. And then the red door cracked. A sliver of black air leaked out, cold, rotten. Sarah called a priest, a psychic, anyone who could help. Most didn't even answer their phones. The ones who did refused. One middle-aged woman who specialized in interdimensional beings finally agreed to help. But when she arrived, she only shook her head. "That door was sealed for a reason," she whispered before leaving. "You should have left it alone." But curiosity is a curse. Sarah couldn't ignore the whispers, the knocks, or the girl in her dreams. On the 7th night, the full moon hung like a skull in the night sky. Sarah stood before the door, clutching a silver pendant in her hand. A gift from her grandmother. The pendant glowed faintly. Perhaps it was just the moonlight reflecting off its surface. Or perhaps it was reacting to the evil brewing behind the red door. Taking a deep breath, she whispered, "I'm not afraid of you." The door creaked open. Inside the room, an identical-looking Sarah stepped out. Only her eyes were empty, her mouth stretched unnaturally wide. And in that moment, Sarah realized what her grandmother had meant. She wasn't just opening the door to another dimension. She was opening it to herself, to a part of her that was dark, twisted, and hungry for something more. The other, Sarah, stepped into the room, shut the door behind her, and now she lives here. As the original Sarah stumbled back, she felt the darkness consume her, pulling her into a nightmare version of her own life. The knocking stopped abruptly. Silence descended upon the apartment once more. The only sound was Sarah's ragged breathing. She collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming down her face. She understood now, the drawings, the whispers, the constant dread. It had all been a warning. Days turned into weeks. Sarah hardly slept, haunted by visions of the doppelganger leading her into a twisted reflection of reality. What had she unleashed? How could she stop it? Fear turned to desperation. Then a glimmer of hope. In the depths of her despair, she remembered her grandmother's pendant. It had glowed when she touched the door. Perhaps it held the answer. Sarah spent hours researching her grandmother's past, uncovering secrets that hinted at a world beyond human understanding. Meanwhile, The doppelganger thrived in Sarah's apartment, reveling in the darkness that seeped from the red door. The pendant revealed an ancient truth. The red door wasn't just a portal, it was a prison. Her grandmother had sealed it years ago, trapping an entity that shouldn't exist. But why? And what did it want with Sarah? One day, Sarah discovered a hidden compartment in her grandmother's belongings. Inside, a worn leather journal. As she turned the brittle pages, a name jumped out at her. Ilara, the doppelganger. Was that her name? Was she a lost soul, or something more sinister? Sarah didn't know. Suddenly the apartment grew freezing cold. The doppelganger stood before the red door, her eyes glowing with malevolent light. "Let me out," she whispered, her voice echoing with ancient power. "I've waited too long. I must be free." The door began to tremble. Sarah knew she had to act fast. Using the knowledge gleaned from her grandmother's journal, she prepared a ritual to banish the doppelganger back to the void from which it came. But the ritual required a sacrifice, something precious, something pure. Sarah hesitated. Could she make the ultimate sacrifice? Would it end the nightmare or amplify it? With the doppelganger's freedom at stake, Sarah made her decision. As the full moon reached its zenith, Sarah confronted the doppelganger. Their eyes met, a battle of wills. In that moment, Sarah understood. This wasn't just about banishing an entity. It was about saving her own soul. With trembling hands, she performed the ritual, offering up her most prized possession, the pendant from her grandmother. Light erupted, filling the apartment. The doppelganger screamed as the door began to glow with otherworldly energy. Then, silence. The glow faded, revealing the terrified Sarah and the closed red door. Had she won? Was the nightmare finally over? She cautiously approached the door. Its surface was cold to the touch. No longer red, it was just a plain wooden surface. Relief washed over Sarah, but it was short-lived. In the corner of her eye, she saw a flicker of movement. Turning slowly, she saw the doppelganger emerging from the shadows. Her eyes burned with hatred. "You may have banished me from your world," she hissed, "but I will find a way back. And when I do, you will pay." With that, she vanished, melting back into the darkness. Sarah was shaken. The doppelganger was gone. But the threat lingered. She knew the battle wasn't over. It had only begun. The red door might be sealed, but the evil it contained wasn't so easily banished. And as the moon climbed higher in the sky, Sarah braced for the return of the nightmare. Her doppelganger thrived in the realm from which it had come. Here, reality was fluid, shifting to her will, but the void whispered promises of greater power. All it demanded was complete control. With each passing day, the doppelganger grew stronger, feeding on the darkness that clung to Sarah's world. Meanwhile, in the human realm, Sarah sought allies, reaching out to those who believed in the unseen. Together, they formed a fragile alliance, bound by their determination to protect humanity from the doppelganger's grasp. But even as Sarah rallied support, the doppelganger's influence spread. People close to Sarah began to turn against her, manipulated by whispers from beyond the veil. Trust became a luxury she could no longer afford. As the final confrontation approached, Sarah delved deeper into her own psyche, confronting her fears and doubts. She realized that the doppelganger wasn't just an evil entity. It was a manifestation of Sarah's own inner darkness. Banishing it meant facing her own demons. Then, on the night of the full moon, the doppelganger struck. She emerged from the red door, bringing with her an army of creatures from the void. Reality itself buckled under their onslaught. As chaos erupted around her, Sarah stood firm. It was time to end this nightmare. With a heavy heart, Sarah led the doppelganger away from the city, deep into the desolate wasteland where the veil between worlds was thinnest. There, under the watchful gaze of the moon, they faced each other, two sides of the same coin. "You cannot defeat me, Sarah," the doppelganger taunted, her voice echoing with power. "I am you, and you are me. Together we are unstoppable. You may have been a part of me once, but you don't understand what it means to be human," Sarah replied, her voice ringing with conviction. The battle raged, not just between two warriors, but between two souls. The doppelganger wielded the powers of the void, bending reality to her will. But Sarah had something the doppelganger could never understand: compassion, empathy, and love. With these weapons, Sarah fought back. In the end, it wasn't brute force that triumphed, but understanding. Sarah realized that the doppelganger wasn't evil, just lost. And in that moment of clarity, she found a way to help her. Instead of banishing the doppelganger, Sarah offered her a choice, a chance to heal and move forward. And as the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, the doppelganger vanished, taking with her the darkness that had plagued Sarah's world. But she wasn't gone forever. For in the tapestry of existence, the threads of their lives were forever intertwined. Sarah knew that the doppelganger would return, not as an enemy, but as a friend. Together, they would stand against the shadows, protecting the balance of light and dark.